So recently a subscriber sent me a question asking me if Nishane's Ani, this one right here, smells like Tiziana Terenzi Hale Bopp, this one right here. Well, in the end, they're in the same style. They're Oriental, spicy, Oriental, woody fragrances. But even though they might remind you of one another, they're completely different. They smell different to me with hints of reminding me of one another. So in today's video, I thought I'll do a video comparing these two and let you know exactly how similar they are and mostly how different they are, because to me, they're different wearing experiences. So if you want to find out all about Nishane's Ani in comparison with Tiziana Terenzi Hale Bopp, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, I do get questions sent to me quite a bit. You guys sent me questions to my email address, lfsgquestions@gmail.com, and sometimes I get them as comments on my videos, and of course I get them on Facebook and Instagram as well. Sometimes I'll compile videos of 12 questions, 10, 12 questions, which I recently did, and air those as long form videos, and I might cut up a few of the questions in there and air them separately. And in this case, today's video, I'll do a separate video. I feel like it's you know, definitely worthy of doing a comparison of these two fragrances. So today I'll let you know all about these two and how they compare. But before I get to the fragrances, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So who is a fan of Nishane's Ani and Hale Bopp by Tiziana Terenzi? Are you a fan of the houses, Nishane, Tiziana Terenzi? Let me know what your favorite fragrances are from these two houses, and also let me know if you've compared these two fragrances. Both of the fragrances were launched in 2019. I reviewed Ani earlier in 2019. I reviewed Hale Bopp as part of a collection of fragrances from Tiziana Terenzi. That was last year, but these were launched in 2019. I think they didn't make it out until last year to the, not distributors, but to retailers and things like that. So in the end, they're both Oriental woody, Oriental spicy fragrances, and I think that's pretty much the only similarity to me, except for the fact that it might lightly hint at one another, but they definitely go into different directions. Nishane's Ani featuring notes of vanilla, woody notes, sandalwood, ginger, cardamom, black currant, bergamot, pink pepper, whereas Tiziana Terenzi's Hale Bopp features notes of amber, laudanum, vanilla, cinnamon, geranium, musk, patchouli, lemon, and nutmeg. So they have similar notes, obviously. I read them to you, but as I said, they go in different directions. One of the first differences between these two fragrances is the fact that this is all warm spicy with no hints of freshness, and this is actually a combination of warm spicy with also fresh spicy notes. So there's a little bit of freshness to this fragrance that doesn't appear in Tiziana Terenzi's Hale Bopp. As I said, this is all warm notes. This actually has fresh notes. I think the fresh notes that I get from this one, at least the fresh spicy notes, is definitely ginger. Ginger is definitely a fresh spicy note, and it adds freshness to fragrances. Just as you experience it in foods and things like that, there's a freshness about it, there's a zinginess about it. It does have a kick, obviously, it's a spicy kick, but for me, the experience is fresh, and I think that's why with this particular fragrance, since the ginger is so prominent, there is an element of freshness running throughout the fragrance. But you do experience warm touches with this one, because in the end, vanilla is very, very warm, and it has very, very warm touches. The other thing that's in here that also might contribute to the freshness, I believe, is the cardamom. For me, cardamom is not necessarily a warm spice like the cinnamon that's featured here. It's a very warm spice. For me, there's also elements of freshness with the cardamom here. In the end, it's all about vanilla, which is warm, sandalwood warm, and then you got those zingy, spicy notes of ginger and cardamom, which has the fresh elements. So the wearing experience for me is mostly fresh, spicy, with the elements of warm, spicy. Now with this particular fragrance, Hale Bopp, it's all warm, spicy, but it's an amber. For me, this one does get ambery. Ani does get ambery. But Hale Bopp is all amber. It's a very, very ambery experience. Sweet, resinous, balsamic, loads of vanilla, loads of amber. And you know what this one reminds me of? When I was testing it out for this particular video, I was like, wow, that's reminding me of Chanel's Le Lion. Because Chanel's Le Lion reminds me of Shalimar. And this one reminds me of Shalimar. It has a very Shalimar-like wearing experience, and I love Shalimar as a fragrance. In fact, it smells so great here. It smells really, really great. But one other thing that reminded me of this one, of Chanel's Le Lion, is the lemon note. There is a lemon note at the top. Chanel Le Lion also has a top note of lemon, so it immediately took me to Chanel's Le Lion. But how this doesn't compare to Chanel's Le Lion is the fact that Chanel's Le Lion gets animalic. It gets leathery, smoky. This one, Hale Bopp, does not get smoky whatsoever. It also does not get animalic. It's a warm, spicy experience, and mostly an amber with hints of Shalimar. The Shalimar experience lasts with Hale Bopp. It does not last with Chanel's Le Lion. So those are some differences about these. So in the end, for me, the two fragrances are Oriental spicy, Oriental woody fragrances going in completely different directions. Yes, you might get light hints of one another, but the wearing experiences are completely different. They wear differently. As I said, fresh spices are prominent here, warm spices are prominent here. That cinnamon and nutmeg here are really, really, you know, full-on experience with the vanilla and the amber. The other thing here is the geranium. It does have some aromatic experience, which also contributes to the spiciness of the fragrance. Really, really, really great fragrance here. Going back to Ani, this one also might hint at Dries Van Noten from the House of Frederick Malle. I've heard people say it has similarities, and I can see some of the similarities, but not quite. Dries Van Noten for me, yes, it's sandalwood vanilla, which is what this is, but for me, the sandalwood, or they have another note in there that's contributing to this medicinal quality. I experience a medicinal vanilla sandalwood experience with that particular fragrance, Dries Van Noten from Frederick Malle. Here I don't get that. I really do not get that. The freshness from the ginger and the cardamom is beautifully blended with the vanilla and sandalwood here, which makes for a great wearing experience. Whereas this one is a great fall, winter, spring experience. For me, Hale Bopp is a winter experience because it's extreme in its experience. It's an extreme version of something that smells like Shalimar, an amber fragrance, and things like that. And for me, both of them are extrait de parfum concentration. Both Ani and Hale Bopp are extrait de parfum concentration, and both last a long time. But for me, in comparison to the both, this is like major beast mode, intense all the way. And that's kind of what I expect from Tiziana Terenzi fragrances. They're like over-the-top intensity with their fragrances and the concentration. So a little goes a long way with this one. Now this one does also. They're both extrait de parfum concentration, as I said, but when I'm putting them side by side and comparing their, you know, their potency, this really is majorly potent when it comes to the wearing experience. So a little goes a long way with this one in comparison to this one. One more thing I want to say about Ani. So I've done not a comparison, but a layering video of Hachivat and also 100 Silent Ways from Nishane. I've always thought when I first smelled Ani, I've always thought that it was an evolution of Hachivat and 100 Silent Ways, and then we end up at Ani kind of thing. Because for me, when I'm wearing Ani, it reminds me of Hachivat and 100 Silent Ways. I'm not sure if you guys have experienced this, but something about the combination of the notes in here is reminding me of those two fragrances, and that's why I always feel like it's a progression of those two fragrances together, and we end up with Ani with some additional notes. Anyway, those are just my thoughts, but that's what I experienced with this fragrance, and I really love it. I love the combination. It just wears wonderfully together all together, and it's a great fragrance. Both of them are really, really great. If you're looking for an alternative for Le Lion or Shalimar, I highly recommend you try Hale Bopp. It's a great, great amber. Really, really beautiful amber that reminds me of Shalimar, as I said. Anyway, those are my thoughts on these two fragrances. Let me know your thoughts on these two fragrances. Have you compared these two fragrances before? Are you a fan of Ani by Nishane? Are you a fan of Hale Bopp by Tiziana Terenzi? Put a comment down so I can find out. Also, let me know which fragrances are your favorites from both the houses, and if you're fans of the houses. So I'd like to find out what you guys wear and like, and maybe perhaps fragrances you don't like from each of the houses. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please do like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.